Thank you. Dr. Grossman, you mentioned before about young women. You were a bit concerned about the number of young women who've been being prescribed. Given that the Tavistock GIDS found that a high percentage of its patients had an emergent same-sex orientation, I've written down that it was 68% of girls and 42% of boys, i.e. people who are just likely to grow up gay or lesbian. Are you concerned that puberty blockers are being used to change children from being gay or lesbian to being able to pass as straight or members of the opposite sex? And do you echo the concerns of some of the former GIDS clinicians that they were transing away the gay, in their words?
So I understand your question. Yes, personally, I am concerned. And again, I speak as an adult endocrinologist, not as a paediatrician with any great experience of paediatrics. But my concern is that I have quite a number of daughters. Adolescence, childhood, is quite a difficult time, highly confusing for quite a lot of children. We know anorexia nervosa is really quite a common problem now in young women, of uncertainty as their future, their sexuality. And my concern is not the endocrinology per se. I think as technicians we're very competent at doing that, but as the assessment of these young people who will put on a trajectory that takes them automatically into a transgender state. The original idea, and which I think some 10 years ago, I was asked by a newspaper how I felt about the concept of puberty blockers, which at the time I thought was not unreasonable. The time to consider, time to reflect, maybe for 6 months, that you would put everything on hold, and then see which way it's going forward. My concern about the work from the Tavistock and the Portman Clinic was very much that they were put on this conveyor belt and automatically transferred into a transgender state at the end with, I think, was certainly inadequate follow-up, but probably inadequate assessment in the first place of these young women who are clearly in a difficult situation. There may be many other problems going on. We know about problems with possible neurodivergence and autism, and that these were not properly explored. So my concern for the future is that there may indeed be a small cohort, and I would imagine it's probably small, of young women who wish to be transgender and which pubertal blockers may be of assistance, but we're not adequately assessing the probably much larger number of young women who, with adequate counselling, psychological support, would eventually decide they wanted to stay cisgender.
Before you move on, could I just offer that same question to Professor Butler and to Professor Giordano, please?
Yeah, that's what